You can sit down to do one task, answer an email, read a chapter, start a report, and somehow your brain treats it like wading through wet concrete. Every few seconds, it tries to wander off. But hand that same brain a phone, a video game, or a conversation about something you love, and suddenly 2 hours vanish without effort. Same person, same brain. Wildly different ability to focus. So, what's actually going on? Why is attention so easy to summon for some things and almost impossible for others? It turns out the answer isn't that you're lazy or that you have no willpower. It's built into how your brain decides what's worth paying attention to. First, let's clear up a myth. Attention isn't a single switch you flip on. You actually have two competing systems. One is top-down attention, the deliberate, goal-driven kind. This is you choosing to focus, and it's run largely by your prefrontal cortex, the planning part of the brain. It's powerful, but it costs energy, and it tires out. The other is bottom-up attention, automatic, reflexive, grabbed by whatever is loud, bright, novel, or moving. You don't choose it, it chooses you. A notification buzz, a sudden sound, a flash of motion. Here's the key. Bottom-up attention is fast and cheap. Top-down attention is slow and expensive. So a lot of I can't focus is really your effortful system losing a tug of war with your automatic one. So what decides which system wins? A big part of it comes down to dopamine, but probably not in the way you've heard. Dopamine is usually called the pleasure chemical, but that's misleading. It's better understood as the motivation and anticipation chemical. It spikes not when you get a reward, but when your brain predicts one is coming. It's the chemical that says, this is worth pursuing. Go. This is the heart of the puzzle. Your brain is constantly, unconsciously asking, how big is the reward here? How certain is it? And how soon will it arrive? Tasks that promise a clear, immediate, reliable payoff light up that system. Tasks whose payoff is vague, uncertain, or far in the future barely register. Replying to a text gives you a reward in seconds. Finishing a long project might pay off in a month if it goes well. To your motivation system, those two things are not even in the same league. The boring task isn't harder to understand, it's just harder to want. Now layer on one more ingredient: unpredictability. Your brain is wired to pay extra attention to novel and unpredictable things. For our ancestors, novelty could mean food or danger. Ignoring it was costly. So a surprise reward triggers a bigger dopamine response than a predictable one. This is exactly what slot machines exploit, and it's exactly what your apps are built on. When you pull to refresh a feed, you don't know what you'll get. Maybe nothing. Maybe something amazing. That maybe is the most engaging signal your brain can receive. Psychologists call it a variable reward schedule, and it is one of the most powerful drivers of behavior we know of. So when you try to focus on a textbook, fixed, predictable, slow paying, while a phone sits nearby offering endless novel surprises, it's not a fair fight. You're asking your effortful system to outmuscle a machine engineered specifically to capture your automatic one. There's another factor people overlook. Your brain treats mental effort as a genuine cost, something to be avoided when possible. Researchers have found we essentially run a cost-benefit analysis on tasks. The more cognitive effort something seems to demand, the less appealing it becomes. Even if the reward is real, this is sometimes called effort discounting. A payoff that requires hard thinking gets mentally marked down. And what makes a task feel effortful often isn't the work itself. It's friction and ambiguity, not knowing where to start, fear of doing it badly. A task that's vague or huge, that uncertainty registers as a kind of threat, and the brain's natural response to something aversive is to escape it, usually towards something easier and more rewarding, which, conveniently, is sitting right there in your pocket. This is why breaking a task into a tiny, concrete first step works so well. You're not changing the task, you're lowering its perceived effort cost, so your brain stops flinching away from it. But here's the twist that proves it's not just about easy versus hard. Sometimes we focus effortlessly on things that are genuinely difficult. A musician practicing for hours, a gamer locked into a brutal level, a surgeon, a painter, a programmer who looks up and realizes the afternoon is gone. This is flow, a state psychologists have studied for decades. And flow has a recipe. The challenge of the task has to roughly match your skill level. Too easy, and you get bored and drift. Too hard, and you get anxious and give up. But right in that sweet spot, stretching but achievable, with clear goals and immediate feedback, attention stops feeling like work and starts feeling like momentum. Notice what flow activities have in common: clear goals, instant feedback, and a reward loop you can actually feel. They give your motivation system everything the boring task withholds. That's why difficulty alone was never the problem. Structure is the problem, or the solution. Put it all together, and I can't focus stops being a character flaw and starts being a design problem. Your attention is going exactly where your brain has been trained to send it, toward clear, immediate, novel, low-effort rewards. So if you want to focus on the hard stuff, you don't need more willpower. You need to tilt the playing field. A few ways. Make the reward feel sooner. Set a tiny finish line you can actually reach in this session, and let crossing it count. Lower the friction. Define the very next physical step, so starting doesn't require a decision. Remove the competing novelty. The phone in another room beats the phone face down on the desk every time. You can't out-discipline a variable reward, but you can put distance between you and it. And aim for the flow zone. If a task feels boring, add a constraint or a timer. If it feels overwhelming, shrink it until it's merely challenging. The reason some things are easy to focus on and others feel impossible isn't that you're broken. It's that your brain is a brilliant, ancient prediction machine, optimized for a world that no longer exists. A world without infinite, engineered distraction in your pocket. The good news: once you understand the rules it's playing by, you can start playing by them too. You can't delete the system, but you can set the table so the things that actually matter to you finally get a fair shot at your attention.